Good morning, everyone. This is Crypto Angel giving you the lowdown on Bitcoin. Well, what you can see on my chart is a 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. And I've got a couple of areas that I'm actually looking at on Bitcoin. I'm just going to take off this analysis and reconstruct it so that everyone can see what's going on. Well, the first thing you've got to do when you're trading is you've got to buy cheaply. And if you can buy cheaply, it means that you'll make a profit. So everyone that was buying Bitcoin when the euphoria was in the news around the 16,000 level have all caught a very bad cold, because you can see it didn't go much further up before it fell away. So I said that when it fell, that it might come down to the 200 period moving average and bounce up, which is exactly what it did. Now, the fact is that when Bitcoin bounced back up again, it didn't respect the 200 period moving average at this point. And this is where I was looking for a trade to go long. Now, the entry method that I use is I trade on the 4-hour chart, and I assume that the 200 period moving average is going to be a strong area of support. And the entry method is that I look for a positive candle, so that's a doji, that little candle there, and I simply put my order to buy above the top of the 4-hour candle, and my stop goes on the low. Now, in this case, I got pulled into a trade and the market shot up, but it didn't go very far. It went about, that looks like about $698. At that point, my stop was at break even, and initially my stop goes underneath the low, but once I'm in profit, my stop goes to break even. At this point, when it came back down again, I was stopped out for no loss, so that's okay. Now, where are we? Well, two ways that we can analyze Bitcoin. Firstly, you can take the high up here, you can multiply that by 50%, and that gives you 9,752.98, which is this level here. Now, that's just a level. So when I draw my levels on the chart, I don't trade at those levels. I simply monitor what's going on with price. And if price gives me a clear buy signal, then I use the same technique again. I wait for a positive candle to form, and then I put my buy order above the 4-hour candle. So if the market goes up, I'm taken into a trade and my stop goes on the low. Once my profit has gone to 3 or 4 hundred pips, and in Bitcoin that's very easy to achieve in a very short period of time, the stop always goes to break even, because then it doesn't matter what the market does, because I can't lose. So I only have a positive expectation. Now, the other analysis that I do is a pattern analysis. So I simply copy this first wave down, this one, this leg, and then I put it on the retrace level, and that gives me a target area of 8100.97. But often patterns by themselves are not very good at spotting reversal areas. So you have to look to the left-hand side of your chart, and you have to ask yourself the question, what went on in the past? Well, you can see that we've got this big gap area, so I'm going to box that up with a little rectangle. So you can see that we have the gap from here to here, but you can see that the market actually came back into that gap, and so now we can actually mark this gap far more precisely than we have, you know, instead of having that huge area there, we've actually know that it's gapped into it, spiked down, so it's cleared the orders up to that point. So this is the unfilled area of the gap, and that also coincides roughly with the 100% projection, that leg down with that leg down. Now, what I found in my analysis of patterns is that patterns by themselves, you know, sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. What I also found was that this leg down can often extend, and it usually does, and when it does extend, it typically goes to 110%, which would take us down to 721036. So I've got 3 levels on my chart which I'm actually monitoring at the moment, and those levels are based on previous support and resistance, pattern analysis, and a little bit of experience. So what does the market have to do before I'm prepared to get into a trade? Well, there's one thing the market has to do every time at my levels. It has to form a positive candle. So if I go back to the end here, you can see here this is clearly a positive candle. Now, if that positive candle had formed at this level here, I would take the risk of taking a buy trade on the strength of that positive candle. And my entry would have gone in like this, and it simply would be to buy at that price with my stop on the low. Soon as I get the opportunity to put my stop to break even, I will. Now, I don't think that Bitcoin will just suddenly shoot up from this area. I think what will happen is that we will get a move up if this area is going to hold, and then we're going to get a little move down again. So there's plenty of time to get into this move, because once you see the market actually reacting off a level and coming up, you simply wait for the retrace and assume that that level will hold. We've got 3 levels, 1, 2, 3, and I'm not trading until I get a clear indication of what's going on. Now, the other thing is, a couple of people have said to me, what happens if it breaks that level? Well, it can break those levels, and it can break them by 20 or 30 or 40 pips on, say, a currency. On Bitcoin, it could break it by maybe 100 or 200 pips. So the thing is, these levels identify areas where the market actually might reverse. Don't necessarily trade them until you get a clear signal. So in my next video, I'm going to leave these levels on my chart, and then we can come back to them, and hopefully at one of these 3 levels we will get the correct initiation signal, and then I will show you exactly how I instigate my trade to do a buy order. Well, this is Crypto Angel signing out. I don't think Bitcoin is dead just yet, and really what you need to do is you need to buy Bitcoin when it's cheap, but buy it sensibly. Don't buy it when it's falling, buy it when it's actually showing you that it's actually starting to go back up again. Well, this is me, Crypto Angel, signing out. I wish you all a wonderful week.